So last week we were talking about how growing up I played a bunch of video games, and I didn't have like Xbox and PlayStation because I'm old, and so I played old video games like OG Super Mario and Mario Kart, with controllers that looked like this because I'm old. But what made those games so interesting is that you didn't really get like to to explore worlds. You didn't really get to start over if you made a mistake. Like if you screwed up a level, you just had to start from the very beginning again. And so most of these consoles just had reset buttons that were just like start overs, do overs. If you missed an extra life or what have you. And so those are the video games I grew up on. And last week we talked about how, sometimes that's the way God looks at us. God gives us a restart, a fresh start. We talk about how Paul says that through Jesus we are a new creation. That we have a God who sent his son Jesus to die for us, to take all of our sin, our mistakes, our hurts, the things that we've done to hurt other people, the things that other people have done to hurt us, and that Jesus takes all that stuff and just makes us a new creation. That something in the death of Jesus and the resurrection of Jesus means that we get a fresh start with God and life. But that's not just about like eternal life and heaven and what happens after we die, but there's a lot of instances in Jesus' life where he meets people and they just get a fresh start. They get a do-over, that their life has been going one way and all of a sudden it goes a different way. So in the book of Luke, there's a guy named Zacchaeus. And Zacchaeus is a tax collector. Now, tax collectors were not good dudes. They were actually kind of like the worst of the worst. They took all this money from the people around them. They kind of cheated people, and so no one liked tax collectors, and that's who Zacchaeus was. He was also short. And so he'd gotten rich stealing from the people, and no one liked Zacchaeus. But Jesus was passing through his town, and Zacchaeus wanted to see what Jesus was all about. Except the crowd was too big and he couldn't see, so he climbed up a tree to look out at Jesus as he came through the town of Jericho. And as Jesus is walking or riding a donkey through town, he sees Zacchaeus up in the tree and says, "Zacchaeus, come down." And it is a really weird thing. He invites himself over to Zacchaeus' house for dinner. Like, I don't know if you ever thought about what you would do if Jesus invited himself over to your house, and everyone was thinking like, no, I'm sorry, Jesus, you don't know who this guy is. This is not the guy that you want to have dinner with. He's a bad dude. He's cheated us. He's stolen from us. But Jesus says, no, I need to eat with you. I'm going to come to your house. And they have dinner, and Zacchaeus experiences Jesus in a totally new way. Experiences God in a totally new way. I mean, all that he had ever known was all the things he did wrong, all the ways he'd hurt people. And we talked about last week, right, that how God gives us a fresh start. That God doesn't see us with all the stuff we've messed up with, but just with new eyes, makes us a new creation. But, God doesn't just like save us from our sin. God doesn't just give us a reset button on the bad stuff we've done, forgive us of that stuff. But God gives us a fresh start, a restart for a new life, a new way of living. And so Zacchaeus, he doesn't change his whole life. He doesn't go and become a disciple and follow Jesus. He experiences Jesus, and he changes everything about the way that he does tax collecting. So he says, I'm not going to steal or cheat anybody anymore. And anybody that I have stolen from, I'm going to pay them back double what I took from them. You see, he experienced Jesus, and he realized that he needed to live a different way. Sometimes it's not the stuff that Jesus saves us from, it's the stuff that Jesus saves us for. Like maybe our life is going one way. It's all about us. It's all about what we need, what we want, the stuff that we want to be about. And sometimes I think that Jesus says to us, I have a different way. I want to offer you a different path. A way of loving God, a way of loving neighbors. A restart on your life to take a different trajectory. To put others first, become more humble, more patient. A restart on our lives. So may you, like Zacchaeus, experience Jesus and find a better way.